Particular Hebrew lesson, brothers and sisters. It's consistent of 8 slides, and we call it Speaking in Sentences for Everyday Matters. Now, as pointed out like a little over a week or so, right, we want to sit there and have this class to continue in the same vein and in the same respect and of the same value to one's great endeavor, like unto the More who passed away, named More Mishael, as he was shown as my Hebrew teacher some time ago on this particular channel. All right. So, with that being the case, there is a certain pedigree or standard. There is a certain value in tact, TACT, that we have once it comes down to this particular aspect. All right. So, how's everyone doing? All right. If I can be heard from those who are in attendance, let me get a two. All right. Hebrew conversation and grammar. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. A matter of being specific. We should remember that adjectives follow the noun. Therefore, we say what? Ish tob. Now, what we're going to see, circled brothers and sisters, all right? This here, tob, this word here, brothers and sisters, serves as for the word good. Now, that particular word right there is the adjective. All right. So adjectives follow the noun. All right. So that's something we want to point out for edification purposes. Right. Now, what we're seeing right here, we want to point this out with the laser pointer. Right. The good man. Ha'ish Hatob. Now, let's look at this right here. Right. The pen mark. This particular hey that we see here is partly why, brothers and sisters, I refer to the letter hey as the thumb of the Hebrew alphabet. All right? Ha'ish means the man. Ha'ish tob, which means the man is good. But when you say the good man, you would say Ha'ish hatob. Are there any questions concerning what we just talked about in grammar? All right? Any questions so far? All right. Anybody else? The brother Shuvadia said that he doesn't have any questions. All right. So let's go on, brothers and sisters. We should remember the adjective agrees with the noun. So what we're going to do in color coding this, like with the pen, we're going to show this in yellow. All right. No, we're going to show this in black. Okay. Isha, Toba. So here you have Ish Tob with no hey there. All right. And here we have Isha Toba. So let's see by circling something the aspect of it agreeing one with another. All right. This hey, which is preceded by any letter, just happen to be a sheen in that regard, that has been to have a quamatz with it. And we see the quamatz here and the hey over here. So the letter hey, as we pointed out some time ago on this channel, brothers and sisters, all right, is showing it to be what? The aspect of it inside of its feminine. Are there any questions concerning that? Let's look at this word right here, right? We have here the word kippah. Kippah, brothers and sisters, means what? Can anybody answer what is the definition of the word kippah? Mahamuban Hamila kippah. If anybody understands, what is the meaning of the word kippah? All right. Thank you for that. Aki Shuvadia. The word means hat. Kippah means hat. So now, brothers and sisters, we see we have the Quamat, and it is followed by the letter Hey. Now, in part, brothers and sisters, as to why I put this word here, is because you have Isha and Kippah. So now that just goes to show whether or not whatever the letter is in nouns, if it happens to have a Quamat with the Hey next to it, brothers and sisters, in nouns, which is a thing in this particular case, all right, it shows it to be what? The aspect of it in the feminine. All right. So this is something we want to point out for edification purposes. Are there any questions by anyone within the chat? Let's go over this one more time. Okay. We have here Ish Tob. The word Ish Tob means a man is good. So I want to circle something, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes, right? What you're seeing circled right here, A, and what you're seeing circled right here, the word is. There is no Hebrew word for A, and there is no Hebrew word for is. Now, I want to just stop right there because there is, brothers and sisters, all right, the word Howe. The word Howe means being, Being, which comes from the root word Hayah, which means to be or to exist. However, this Howe does not translate into the word is. All right. So I want that to be noted. So when we just say what you're thinking is man good, is in translation, a man is good. All right. Then we have here, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes, ha, ish, ha, tob. All right. Ha ish, ha tob, which means in Hebrew, the good man. This does not mean the man is good. All right. The way you would say the man is good is ha'ish tob, not ha'ish hatob. And as we are reviewing this for grammar purposes, brothers and sisters, all right, this particular hey that we're seeing being circled shows it that you just saying this in translation without the word is. All right. So that's something we want to point out for edification purposes. Are there any questions concerning what we've gone over so far? All right. Now, brothers and sisters, we should remember the adjective agrees with the noun. So when we have here, for instance, Isha, Toba, right? Then you have Ha, Isha, Hatoba, right? So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. Now, brothers and sisters and those in attendance, right? When we say that the adjective agrees with the noun, what we're talking about, and we want to highlight this for edification purposes, right? In this color here, that and that and that and that. The adjective agrees with the noun. So when we say the good woman, you're saying Ha'isha Hatoba. That, 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 and that. And we want to highlight something else, but in a different color, okay? We can use this green right here. And look at this hay that's being highlighted in the green. Now, the hay letter you see there on the bottom there that's highlighted in the green, brothers and sisters, is very, very important. And we're going to go over this in the next lesson in part, because this is how you begin to understand how to speak. All right? For instance, let me type this in the room. You have the word Kohen, which means priest, right? Can anybody confirm that that word Kohen means priest? So now you would say, Ha, Kohen means the priest. Ha, Kohen, Ha, Ze means this priest. Ha, Kohen, Ha, Tob, Ha, Ze means this good priest. You see how that hey letter, when you're getting the ha and the ha aspect, brothers and sisters, each time when you're speaking in grammar and you're giving the adjective to describe the noun, because that's what the adjective does, it describes the noun, right? Each ha that you put in front of that particular adjective, it erases the word is in English. Do we understand what's going on? All right. I want to type this in for those who's going to see the conversation or so later, sorry. When you have ha in speaking in grammar in Hebrew, each ha, right, shows a aspect of no is in that part. So let me explain. If I were to say Kohen Tob, which means a good priest. Now, if I said ha Kohen Tob, I'm saying what? The priest is good. Ha Kohen Ha Tob means what? The good priest. Notice no is in that. Notice no is in that translation. All right. And that's something we want to point out for edification purposes. All right? Are there any questions concerning this kind of subject, brothers and sisters? Speaking in sentences for everyday matters. You know, we're just actually getting deeper into this particular thing, and you'll be surprised, as we'll point out later, how you are able to the vocabulary that we've gone over in the past, say, month or maybe month and a half, right? That you can sit there and formulate sentence. Like take what the brother Suvaja just wrote, Ain Lee. Ain Lee, okay? Lee means I have not. There is not to me. I don't have, in a nutshell. Okay? So, for instance, the word for bad in Hebrew is the word ra. I would say, Ain Li isha ra'ah. I don't have a bad woman. Ain Li bat ra'ah. I don't have a bad daughter. And brothers and sisters, and this is not to toot one's horn, but when I was able to talk to my child in Hebrew and she understood what I was saying, don't sit there and think that we as adults can't grasp this. Don't think that Hebrew is hard or is difficult. It is different. Oh, it's different. You understand? But it is not difficult. All right? In colleges, they've told students, well, if you only know English, you may not want to take Hebrew. That's evil. And brothers and sisters, that's evil to sit there and say that. Because, like in cases of dealing with children from the womb, they don't know any language. But if you teach them, they'll know it. And if a person has a heart to want to learn something, he or she is going to learn it. You understand? So that's something we want to point out. All right? We're going to review, but let's go on. Now let's look at this. Right? We have, as pointed out here, ha, ha-ish. That's supposed to just be a dot. Let me erase that, man. All right? Ha-ish. The word ha-ish means the man. So now, can somebody type in, how do you say you in Hebrew? How do you say you in Hebrew, brothers and sisters? Can anybody type that in the chat? How do you say you in Hebrew? Ata. So, Torah, thank you. Also, Mika, as well as brother Achi Shuvadia Yehuda. So, if Ata means you or you are, how would you say you are the man? Ata ha'ish. See, that's a whole sentence. Ata ha'ish, you are the man. It's actually a compliment too, depends on how you look at it. All right. So now we have this word right here. Ze Zeha'ish. This is the man. Now, when we look at, and I'm gonna have to color code this because of the situation, right? If you look at this, which is being circled inside of the yellow, and this, which is circled here in the yellow, is where you get the aspect of the. This is. Ze means this is, right? Now, I want to point this out, brothers and sisters. This ze is when speaking in regards with masculine. All right. So going on, we have brothers and sisters. Ze ish. This is a man. Now remember when we was over here earlier, right? And we said that a and is have no set word in Hebrew. So is it the same with this here. This a is what you call as understood in Hebrew. Are there any questions about that, brothers and sisters? Is and a have no set word in Hebrew. So when we say this is a man, you'll say ze ish. This is a man. Now, this man is what? Ha ish. Ha ze. Ze here and ze there. So now let's look at this, the aspect of the pen, and we are going to use this one, right? And circle this hay right here. You notice something, brothers and sisters, and I want to highlight this, if we will. All right. This hay here that's highlighted in the green, and this here that's highlighted here in the green, we want to point out one more time that when you're talking about the aspect and you keep putting ha, whatever, that diminishes the amount of is and a, such and such is inside the translation in English. Now, let's look at this back to the word Kohen, meaning priest. Kohen also means a priest. Then you have ha Kohen, which means the priest. Ze Kohen means this is a priest. Ha Kohen, ha ze, this priest. Ha Kohen, ha ze Tob, this priest is good. See, we already remember, brothers and sisters, ze means this, Tob is good. But you still see that the adjective, like in this case with the word tob, is still put after the aspect of the noun because the adjective follows the noun in Hebrew. Okay? Ha Kohen Gadol means the priest is great or high. Ha Kohen Ha Gadol means the high or great priest. You understand? HaKohen HaGadol. Don't expect to see is or a in that translation. Why? Because as we're pointing out, the more ha aspect that you put, be it ha ze, ha tob, ha gadol, ha whatever, that will not be in the translation with the word is. Are there any questions with that so far? This is far as it goes in regards with grammar. All right. Anybody? Anybody? All right. So, what was the question somebody asked? The question was, does one have a question? Concern. I understand, Aki, that you just came in. Oh, Dorayahu, the person who just commented inside the chat. I want to publicly give you an apology because I did ask you to call me and I did get your message. And then this week, I just got very, 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 very busy with presentations and other things regarding like my little girl. And I'm not saying that's a excuse, but I do respect that you did give me a call. I have your number stored, Ak, and I'm going to call you after I land because I go to North Carolina in the morning. All right. So when I get there and get settled in North Carolina, there won't be no presentations I'm doing online. But Aki, I didn't want you to think that I was just saying call me and then I'm going to not respect the fact that you did call a brother. All right. So hopefully that's understood. All right. The question is, Doraya as well as brother Soldier. Is there any question concerning the stuff we went over in here? That was the question I was asking. All right. Any questions concerning what we've gone over? Okay. So this is something to be pointed out and shown for edification purposes. Next slide. Thank you. From the list we previously did, we can, believe it or not, make sentences, right? A woman is good to see a way, right? Isha toba lirot derek. Now this is called a matter of the infinitive. All right. I didn't name that slide. Okay. All right. So sorry. It says a matter of the infinitive. So let's circle what we're talking about. All right. When we speak of infinitive, is this lamed right here. All right. And we want to sit there and highlight this particular one in green. The infinitive, as we're going to show, is highlighted in green. The lamed letter in Hebrew shows the verb to be in the infinitive. That is to say, to whatever the verb is. So, for instance, the word asa means to do. So, la asot, the la asot means to do. So, asa, when we say words in root meaning to do or to make or to walk or to go or to read or to write, and you hear to write as katab, the literal definition of katab is he wrote. But if you want to say I want, such as I want to write, right? Okay, all right, Shuvadia, when you asked me or state you thought Leah Oat was spelt without the yod, brother, the reason why I put that yod there when I did this particular aspect is because a lot of Israelites, all right, Achi Shuvadia, go to the 501 verb book. The 501 verb book is more popular than the 201. So that's why I put that yod there, because a lot of more Israelites, when they're researching like the 201, then later on, more so now, the 501, they'll see that. That's why I put that there in that particular case. Now, when you read like in the Tikkun, for those who don't know what a Tikkun is, we're talking about the aspect of from Genesis to Deuteronomy with vowels on one side and without vowels on the other. No, that's not necessarily saying Doriah the full spelling. That's just saying the 501 verb book that many Israelites source, you're going to see that. So that's why I put that in this regard. All right. So hopefully that was understood. All right. So now let's put the aspect of understanding what we're talking about. That's a good point. Thank you, Ahai. All right. Pen, and we want to make this in black, if we will. All right. Isha, right? to ba. A woman is good. You see, a right here is already understood in Hebrew as we've gone over. Is already understood in Hebrew as we've gone over. So Isha Toba means a good woman. Pardon me, a woman is good. Lir ot, to see, derek, way. So let's highlight, brothers and sisters, the aspect, and I want to use a different color for the highlighting. Let's use this yellow, derek, and way, a way. Because as we've been pointing out, a doesn't have a specific word in Hebrew. All right. So Isha Toba, a woman is good. Lir ot derek, to see a way. Are there any questions concerning what we've just gone over in this particular regard? Questions, comments, so forth and so on. Okay, we see, all right, when you use the laser pointer, Ish Tob, Lir Ot Derek, right? No, Derek would not have a hey with it. If I were to say, Brother Dariah, ha Derek, that would mean the way, more so. But Derek by itself, the Dalit, the Resh, and the Kaf, that, or the Kaso feet, brothers and sisters, that just means a way or a path. So there wouldn't be a hey within that word unless you're showing it as the definite article. The letter hey, brothers and sisters, is the definite or definite article in Hebrew. You're asking me, would Derek have a hey after the kaf? That wouldn't be Derek at that point, ahi. That would be Daracha. If we were to, and I'm gonna write out what you're talking about, and I do appreciate you asking the question. Let's say what you're talking about, you got the Dalit, the Resh. Come on. All right, let's do this one more time. You got the Dalit, the Resh, the Kaf so feet that turns to regular Kaf, right? And the Hey. That would say to the Hebrew reader, an understandable person, right? That says dar ha, which means her way. All right, dar ha, her way. The dalit with the ah sound. Well, in this particular case would have the patak. The resh with the shawah, dar, you join that. Then you got the kaf with the qamat and then the hey. And you put that, what they refer to this as the dagesh, another aspect, but we'll discuss the dagesh situation a little further later. But for edification purposes for now, daraka, her way. So you wouldn't see this as way by itself. All right? That's something we just want to point out for edification purposes. Thank you for the question in that particular regard. Okay. So the next thing, could have just did the whole thing with that one, but um we have Ish Tob. You notice how the hey here, and we want to put the highlight point, or pardon me, the laser, the hey here and the hey here, brothers and sisters. You notice that? Okay, let's continue. All right. Thank the Most High. Kotob, my brother. Ish Tob, uh, right? Ish Tob, Lir Ot, Now, we want to sit there and just show with the highlight of what is exactly the same between these two sentences. Same, 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 same. And what we're going to show in the blue highlight, light blue, is the difference. Tob, Toba, Ish, Isha. See the difference? But yet we want to point out when it says the matter of the infinitive. And this is why I wanted to make this particular slide, because this becomes important. The infinitive, whether you're speaking in the feminine or the masculine, the infinitive, which we're going to circle with the pen in green. We want to color code this for the people listening later on or so, right? This little oat that you see there and this little oat that you see here, it's the same thing in the infinitive, be it with the feminine that we see here or the masculine. The infinitive does not change. Are there any questions for that? What I'm saying in Hebrew is, all right, and I want to type this in. There is no masculine or feminine to the infinitive. The infinitive is the same, known as the bakalam. We went over the bakalam before on this particular channel, right? So be it if you're speaking in the aspect of, all right, want to put the laser part, all right, speaking in the aspect of the feminine, Isha, which is a woman, female, Isha Toba, Lear Oat, Ish Tob, Lear Oat. The Lear Oat stays exactly the same, regardless of what gender you're speaking to or about. Are there any questions concerning that? Brothers and sisters, I want to be very candid at this point. I am going to get me a water. I'll be back. Any questions? There's no questions about the infinitive with masculine and feminine. Okay, let's go on. Like slide. A matter of going, right? In previous lessons, we went over the word asa, to do, raza, to want, ra'ah, to see, shamar, to watch, halak, to go, akal, to eat. We went over all of that. With the grammar rules we learned so far, we can actually again form sentences. See how easy it is when you apply it with that? Now let's look at this right here. We're going to use the pen, and I want to use this. All right, I'll use this color here, right? Ha ish holek. Ha ish holek, which means the man goes, or the man go, or the man is going. This holek, all right, and I want to sit there and emphasize something in this particular regard, right? This holek, brothers and sisters, is masculine, all right? Are there any questions? So if you were to speak of your dad, you can say Ha'ish, or you could just say the name of your father, or you could just say Abi, which means my father. All right, Abi Holek, my father, he goes. or my father is going. Ha'ish, because we don't know the name of the person, just saying it as so, right? The man. The man goes. Ha'ish holek. Now let's look at this next one. The man that goes. Ha'ish ha holek. Remember we said earlier, the more ha that you say, the less translation would have the word is in it. This is why you see the man that goes, there's no is or a in that sentence. All right. So you could say the top sentence goes or is going. Ing is the English way, present tense in verbs. Ing. The man goes or the man is going. But you notice, and I want to highlight this to show the distinction, if we will. All right. Matter of fact, I'll just circle it in a different color. Ha'ish, haholek. All right. The man that goes. Now let's look at this next one here. No, there's no late posting to the question. You asked Brother Dariah this, and it does not matter in a word like the modern Hebrew word, all right? Lahit ra'ot, which is in a hipa'el stem. Sorry about the late. There's no late posting to a question because it's still in the context of what we're talking about. All right. So I appreciate that particular aspect. All right. All right. Now let's look at this right here. And I want to color code it. Maybe I'll use a different color like this blue here. Okay, let's go in, brothers and sisters. Haisha. Haisha ho leket. All right. Haisha ho leket. Let's show this with the laser. Haisha, the woman, ho leket. The woman goes or the woman is going. All right. Then we see the woman that goes. So we want to color code this with the pen as well. All right. Haisha haho leket. All right. Are there any questions concerning this? You have is going, going, that's a G. All right. You know, there were people who was telling me I shouldn't teach Hebrew classes. Did you know that? That kind of was the spirit that I was thinking and talking about last night on the other channel called More Yeshaya Hebrew Lessons, about More Yeshaya Torah Lessons, in which I was speaking about when the Most High is moving you in something, don't let nobody sidetrack you. All right. All right. Now, let's look at this right here, brothers and sisters, right? Ha'isha holeket. Ha'isha ha'holeket. So I want to, one more time, circle this. I'm going to use the black, all right, in this particular regard. Ha'holeket, all right? You see these things that are circled, brothers and sisters, and I want to show this with the laser, right? Right here and right here. That is part of the prefix in this particular case, all right? This is why we want to understand that the letter Hey is the thumb of the Hebrew alphabet. As we went over in another teaching in which I was honoring my female teachers, the letter Hey is a feminine letter. And without that, you won't be able to conjugate Hebrew in 5 of the 7 stems. You need that letter Hey there. So let's go on to the next slide, please. All right, the matter of making a sentence. Look at this right here. At this point, we want to show how easy it is with the known vocabulary to make sentences from the words we used in this presentation. The man goes to the store, right? Ha'ish holek la kanut. Kanut means store, all right? Ha'ish holek la kanut. That lamed, now this doesn't mean in the aspect of the bakalam, but that lamed, as we will go to lesson number 15, I'm going to put that in the description of this video. Lesson number 15 explains the bakalam as well, all right? So we see here, and we want to color code, brothers and sisters, highlight, kanut, store, okay? And we want to highlight this one. Nope, I can't do it that way. Stand corrected. We want to highlight this in a better aspect. That lamed is translated as to the, la, to the, all right? Then we have this particular one here that's highlighted. Kanut, store. Are there any questions concerning this? Please feel free to speak of such. Then we have in regards to making a sentence, right? Pen. Ha'isha holeket lachanut. Now, I want to point something out. All right? We're going to sit there and show with the highlight, and I want to highlight this in a different color. Let's pick the green. You notice the word kanut when you say the man in the above sentence, and the word kanut when you say the woman in this current sentence? Brothers and sisters, it's still kanut regardless. So because you're speaking in regards with masculine on the top here, kanut doesn't become for masculine to feminine. And the word kanut here doesn't become masculine to feminine, which, by the way, the word kanut is pardon me, a feminine word. But the point I want to emphasize is you don't change it to say kanuta. Are there any questions concerning that? And we also, brothers and sisters, want to point out this lamed still stays in the aspect of the same. So let's continue, brothers and sisters, in this particular regard with this. She maketh or made linen garments, and she selleth them. What does that sound like? Sound like the book of Proverbs 31. Because that's where I got it from. Proverbs 31. She maketh or made linen garments, and parentheses, she selleth them. All right? Are there any questions concerning what we've just gone over, brothers and sisters? Please let me know. Questions or comments? Please let me know. Any questions or comments? Okay. Now, brothers and sisters, let's go and expound upon this particular thing. And we want to highlight this. She maketh or made. We see that with the word asta. Asta from the root word asa, as we pointed out several times. All right. Then we want to color code this in translation. And we'll use the red. Sardine, linen garments. The word sardine is also translated as the word sheet, like the sheet for your bed. All right. And we want to use the purple, if we will, or the other blue. Watim kor. And she selleth them. Do you remember we were saying that the letter hey and the letter tau are feminine letters, right? So I want to circle something so we can follow this meticulously point by point by point in this particular regard, right? This tau that you see here and this parenthesis she is the same exact point, all right? Makar, as we're going to show here in the bottom, all right, means to sell in root. That's a new word for us, brothers and sisters, to sell. Now let's look at all of this for edification purposes, right? What can we notice in this particular regard? You got the word store, man, woman, and sell. So if you know now that the root word makar means to sell, and you know the word kanut means a store, and you know the word haulek is masculine singular present tense for going, and holeket is the feminine singular present tense for going, and you already know asa means he made, and asta means she made, you could say she is going to the store. She is selling her clothes at the store. At means ba. Ba means at in Hebrew. Those are sentences just for regular conversation. See, when we say, brothers and sisters, that Hebrew is not difficult, the goal in these classes is just to take a person and use the words that you usually use every day. We use words like good every day. We use words like great every day. We use words like we say Boker Tov, good morning. You might say Zaharanim Tov, which means good afternoon. Lala Tov, night. Shabua Tov, good week. Kodesh Tov, good month. Shana Toba. You see that? You see how it goes from Yom Tov to Shana Toba? Shana means year, Y-E-A-R. You don't say Shana Tov. You say Shana Toba. Because the adjective agrees with the noun, as we've been pointing out for edification purposes. Right? So she maketh or made linen garments, and she selleth them. Makar, which means to sell. So now let's go back, if we will. Right? We had the word akal, to eat, shamar, to watch, halak, to go. Those are not lamed hey verbs. In other words, those verbs don't end with a hey. This particular one, we're going to show with the pen here, and I want to use a different color, let's say black. This verb here ends with a resh, makar. So that's not, brothers and sisters, a aspect of a feminine, pardon me, it's not the aspect of the lamed hey verb. Let's go on to the next part. Her clothing is fine linen and purple, right? What can we point out? All right. We're going to use, brothers and sisters, this is also from Proverbs 31, actually verse 32. Sheish wa aragaman lebusha. Now remember, brother Dariah, or Dariahu, sorry, when you asked about the hey after the word derek, and I said that that would mean her way or her path, right? And you see here, her clothing. Let's color code this in a highlight. And I want to use a different color highlighter. All right, so let's use the yellow for instance. You see her there, right? And you see her right here. The personification in Hebrew, all right, of a particular noun is shown as the suffix. Is there any questions about what I just said? We know a suffix is something that you put as an add-on to the end of a word. That's what a suffix is. So now, this hey that you see there highlighted in the yellow, that's a suffix. Her clothing, lebusha. Now this lamed, this l sound is not meaning two, brothers and sisters. It doesn't mean the word two. That actually comes from the word labash. The word, brothers and sisters, labash in Hebrew, all right? Akishabaya, im atapo. Mahomoban hamila labash. What does the word labash mean, my brother, if you're still in the room and able to type in? What does the word labash mean? We want to write this out with a pen real quick. Correct. Labash. To wear. Now that's the root form in the verb, right? Labash, to wear. This waw between the bet and the sheen is what you refer to as an interjection or an injection or an interjection, if you will. All right? Lebusha. Lebush means clothing. So if labash in root is the verb, meaning to wear, as the brother Shuvadia pointed out, then we can easily see how the word clothing is the word lebush. You see that? He mokedet libush. She sells clothing. Ha'ish haholek lakanut. The man that goes to the store. He mokedet. She sells. Lo, to him. Lebushim, clothing, garments, plural. Okay? Now, I want to sit there and also point this out right here with the highlighter. And we're going to put this in, let the purple be for purple. Argaman is that, and Argaman means purple. And that is extremely dark in that regard. So I'm going to erase that and just underline it. All right, we're going to underline the purple in the purple and show what we're talking about in that regard. Argaman means purple, right? And fine linen, as we see there, is the word shesh, which Aki Shuvadia, if you're there, what does the word shesh mean when most Israelites will hear that, Aki? When you hear the word shesh, what comes to your mind? Fine linen and shesh. I'll give you a hint. It's one of the numbers. Okay. The word shesh also means the number 6. Thank you, Dorayahu. All right. So that's just something we want to point out in that regard. Now, yeah, the word shesh, Aki, also means 6. All right. Ekad Shanayim, Shalosha, Araba'a, Kamesha, Shisha. That's the masculine way to count. The feminine way to count, as we know, is Akat, Shetayim, Shalosh, Arba, Kamesh, Shesh. Shesh is also, it means fine linen, and it's also the feminine way of saying the word 6. All right. So that's just something we want to point out in that particular regard. So now, brothers and sisters, looking at this in the green, she maketh for herself coverlets. So let's highlight certain things. All right. And we want to highlight this in green. All right. We're going to move on. For herself, la. 2 or 4, la. Now, brothers and sisters, this particular case, and we want to put this one in the red, with the pen in the red, with the pen in the red, right? You got the lamed and, pardon me, the hay, and preceding that is the actual aspect of what? The quamats. The quamats in the hay, and as you can see, that dagish, or that dot, if you will, within the hay, all right, actually emphasizes the sound of that hey. That's what that dagish does. La, la, in that particular regard, means to her, which is translated here, meaning for herself. So now let's continue as we were in this, and we're going to underline mar kabi mar badin, coverlets. All right. The word coverlets, brothers and sisters, in this particular regard, right? It comes from the word, as we see here, mar badin. Now, can we, brothers and sisters, if you look at the word, for instance, Rabad. What does the word rabad mean, brothers and sisters? It means to spread out. The word rabad is also said to mean the word deck, D-E-C-K. But because you got people who would think deck the halls with this, I don't want no Xmas spirit in this kind of teaching. So that's why, even though it's translated as spread out or deck, I'm going to go with the word spread out. Okay? The word rabad, okay, is a verb meaning what? As we stated, to spread out. So once again, brothers and sisters, we want to emphasize, all right, the significance of this letter mem, which I refer to, brothers and sisters, as the ring finger of the Hebrew language. The hey being the thumb, the mem representing the ring finger. Because rabad, the verb, meaning to spread out. Marbad means a coverlet. Marbadim means coverlet. So if it's something that you cover, that you're covering, right? So to spread it out means it's something that's being covered. The daughters of Zion were known for wearing what was covering them. That's why it is very elusive and disrespectful, if I use the word elusive in the right sentence. Why do you find sisters on Facebook? He asked me for a picture of some. The daughters of Israel don't get down like that in most cases. You see what I'm saying? Because it says about the virtuous woman, she maketh for herself coverlet, that which is spread over, that which is, for the lack of a better word, decked over, that which is covered. The daughters of Zion were already known for having things that was already covering them. You follow? You understand? The nudity thing, that was with Mizraim, that was with Yawan, the Greeks and the Egyptians. They was into that whole thing with the nudity and the respect and the glorification of the human body. Brothers and sisters, children don't need to see sexuality to know what it is. That's innately within a person to know what to do once it comes down to them being married. But we don't want to get sidetracked from the presentation. All right? She maketh, or she made. And as we see here, and we want to color code this a little different. Let's pick a color like, white ain't going to work because the thing is white. So let's pick this blue, right? And we have asta, just as we've shown before. And its root word being the word what? Asa. And we're going over asa just last weekend. You understand? We went over the word asa like last Saturday night, late Saturday night at that, about 12 something at night. You know, giving thanks to the Most High for sparing our lives to be back in this particular time and season, if we will. Okay? Now, brothers and sisters, any questions concerning what we've gone over so far? This mem that you see right there, we want to highlight what we're talking about in this particular regard, and we want to highlight this, say, in the light blue here. This mem you see and highlighted in the light blue, right? The word rabad, as we went over, means spread out, right? That mem makes this verb a noun. By adding the prefix of the letter mem to a verb, you make that verb a noun, as we've explained before. Next slide. Tish wa argaman lebusha. Mar badim asta lah. Are there any questions? The same word that is used in Isaiah 44:24. Note shemayim labadi. who spread out the heavens. Nah, that's not the same word. The word noter that you see there is, you can say that means aki dorayahu, the word spread, but the word noter from nata more so means to plant. Who planted out. Plant, like you put a plant in something or you plant something in the ground. Well, the heaven standing on its own accord is planted in the rahuya, or within the firmament. All right. So that word noter is not the same word that we use as the word rabad. All right. Are there any questions? Thank you for that particular aspect too, Aki. Any questions or comments from anyone? Because this ends this particular presentation. I made these 2 extra slides because I thought I was going to need it to write, but I did the writing that I needed in this particular one right here. All right. Teshwa aragaman lebusha. Mar badim askala. All right. Now, in concluding this particular aspect, brother, don't say it's your bad when you say it's a synonym. It is what it is. All right? Because I want to be 100. Brothers and sisters, I'm seen and respected as the Morey in this, but I didn't know the word Marbadim until the 5th of April 2019. I didn't know that word. If I were to think of the word for cover, I would use the word casa, because the word kisut, right? Let's spell this out. All right, let's use the pen for this particular aspect. Right, we have the word kasa. All right, and I want to make this look more like a hey. Sorry about that, brothers and sisters. All right, we have, as pointed out, brothers and sisters, the word kasa. That means to cover. Hakote hazot nig mara. Hakita hazot nig mara. Is that, are you asking me, Aki? Ha'imata. So eloti im hakita hazot nig mara. Hakita hazot gemura. She'elakalihu. Is that what you asking me, Aki? Okay. Well, let's look at this word right here. The word kasab means what? To cover. So now, brothers and sisters, oh, it would have been over here. Sorry. The word kasa, all right, is the normal word I would have used to say for cover, which does mean that. No, she'alat kali, ani ene. Oka, I will answer you. Ha kita hazo, lo nigmara achal. Ki yeshli milim hashubim le'mor lachita aladohan han kufot. Aladot ha-milim asha ani kwarati al ha sefer ha-panim al ha-Facebook. Because we got to address something about the aspect of Hebrew that's been going around on Facebook for edification purposes. All right, so let's look at this right here. We have the word kasa, which means what? To cover. Okay? So when you look at this word here, rabad, translated in part also to cover, because mar badi means coverlets, as we see here, as we've seen already translated in Psalms chapter 31, verse 22. The coverlets, as we see, is translated from the word mar badim. So the resh, the bet, and the dalit, and as we see here, brothers and sisters, we want to put this in the laser aspect, if we will. The resh, the bet, and the dalit also would mean to cover. So someone asks, does the word kasa ending with the aleph have the same meaning as the word kasa with a hey? All right, let me explain this particular aspect, because it actually, thank you though for your question, my brother. It actually gets outside of the context of Hebrew itself. Now, kasa ending with a hey is a Hebrew word, meaning to cover. Kasa, all right, ending with the aleph though it's written in what we understand as Hebrew lettering, that's not Hebrew. That's Aramaic. Do we understand what's going on? Many Hebrew words that end with the letter Hey end in Aramaic with the letter Aleph. Like, for instance, the way to say heaven in Hebrew is Shemayim. And the way to say heaven in Hebrew is the word Shemayim. And the way to say heaven in the book of Daniel, when it says the word heaven, is the word Shamayah. And that word Shamayah in Aramaic, okay, which, like I said, is taking us outside of Hebrew, but it's all good, is the word Sheen, Mem. All right? Nah, it's still good, bro, Aki. That's the Yod, and that's the Aleph. You know why? I'm glad, Dariah, who you asked that, because you may find Israelites who read, say, the book of Daniel and say, hold on, this word, Moray or whoever didn't say that or go over that. So even though you saying that you wanted clarification, partly of this particular presentation and why I want people, when we get the YouTube set up a little better, to actually speak in the class like I'm speaking in the class and not just going me talking, me talking. I want to have a conversation built and this kind of thing. We'll work on that, right? Is you never know who is going to reach. I pointed this out before. My Hebrew teacher called him Mikael when I was 13, 14 years old in Hashaba, which is located at that time in New York. He didn't deliver a less quality class because there was less than 10 people, because you never know who's going to be listening later. Now, with the time allotted, right? Let's talk real quick about what's understood in Hebrew as nikudot, or vowels, right? A vowel is a sound that is written, okay? A consonant is a letter that is written. A vowel is a sound that is written. When you go, brothers and sisters, and I got the book with me right here, and I want to read a part of this for edification purposes so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. I have, for those who will subscribe and understand to it, brothers and sisters, right? If we will. The book of Josephus, and here's what it says in Antiquities of the Jews, right? Book 12, chapter 2. It says this, that the character meaning the letters, that the character in which they are written seems to be like that which is proper character of the Syrians, and that its sound, when pronounced, is like theirs also, and that this sound appears to be peculiar to themselves. Now, what are we reading in the book of Josephus? And I want to type in the portion I just read where you can find the citation. All right? All right? We want to sit there and show what we're talking about. Josephus, right? Antiquities of the Jews, book 12, book 10, chapter 2, sorry. Book 10, chapter 2. Read that when you get the chance, because this is what he says concerning Hebrew itself. Now, this is when it was going to make what's referred to as the Septuagint, right? It says, how Ptolemy Philadelphus procured the laws of the Jews to be translated into the Greek tongue and set many captives free and dedicated many gifts to God. When Alexander had reigned 12 years, and after him Ptolemy Soter 40 years. Philadelphus then took the kingdom of Egypt and held it 40 years within one. He procured the law, which is the Torah. He procured the Torah to be interpreted and set free those that were come from Jerusalem into Egypt and were in slavery there, who were 120,000. Then it goes on to say this here. And when once Ptolemy asked him how many 10,000s of books he had collected, he replied that he had already about 20 times 10,000, and that in a little time he should have had 50 times 10,000. But he said he had been informed that there were many books of laws among the Jews, meaning among the people of Judah, the Israelites, worthy of inquiry after and worthy of the king's library, but which being written in characters and in dialect of their own, meaning in dialect of their own as their own Israelites, will cause no small pains in getting them translated into the Greek tongue. So because the Torah, the writing, the laws of the Yehudim or the Jews, the Israelites, is written in the character. That's what we just said. All right, we just read that. Character. Not talking about your spirit in this regard. We're talking about character like A, B, C, or characters in an alphabet, right? So you got Aleph, Bet, Gamel, Dalet. Psalms 119 shows you what? The book of Psalms 119 has Aleph, then 8 verses later, Bet, 8 verses later, Gamel, 8 verses later, Dalet. There was structure in Hebrew. The white man didn't make vowels. We got to sit there and point this out, and sorry for anyone who might have been offended, because I do understand, not that I'm quote unquote selling out, there are white people who do listen to this channel. I have gotten text messages from white women concerning this channel and how they watch it. You do know that. You understand? But we want to point out, not being quote unquote racist, that the white man did not create vowels. Okay? So let's go on in this particular regard. It says concerning the characters of the Israelites in their writing, it will cause no small pain. In other words, it will cause great pain in getting them translated into the Greek tongue, that the character in which they were written seems to be like that which is the proper character of the Syrians. Do you know who the Syrians were? In history, in the Bible, was Aram, Arameans. The people of Aram was the maternal side of the Israelites. The maternal meaning of the mommies, the mothers. The paternal side of the Israelites was Chaldean. So the Hebrew, the language the Israelites would be speaking, would naturally by default be a mixture between their daddy's language, the Chaldean, and when you go to Ezekiel, the 23rd chapter, verse 15, it speaks about Chaldea, the land of the Israelites' origin. The children of Israel did not come up out of Europe. The children of Israel came up out of the land of Chaldea through Abraham of Ur of the Chaldees. Then his son Isaac, you are what your father is. Then his son Jacob, whose later name was changed to Yisrael. At the Tower of Babel, brothers and sisters, is when you find the aspect of the languages being divided, because the Most High confounded the languages. This is before the time of Abraham himself. So Israel, being the last biblical nation created, the language that the Israelites would speak would, as it says here, right in the book of Josephus, as we quoted out, it says what? The character in which they are written seems to be like to what that is proper character of the Syrians, and that its sound. Do we know what a sound is, brothers and sisters? All right. Do we know what a sound is? Because it says right here in Josephus, for those who want an external quote, right? And that its sound, when pronounced, is like to theirs also. Meaning that when the Israelites pronounce sounds, according to Josephus, it sounds like Aramaic. That's what he's saying. So when you study, for instance, Aramaic, that you see in the book of Ezra, that you see in the book of Daniel, no disrespect intended, the Lashon Quadash does not work. When people are teaching, enforcing, or idealizing the concept of saying that Hebrew has no sound but and then saying that Hebrew has no vowels. But we have to understand that A is a sound, thus it is a vowel. We have to understand the ancient Israelites, though we understand our ancestors as ancient, was not the most ancient people on the earth. The Bible talks about that. Genesis 28, which is 28 chapters, 27 chapters after the creation, is when you first read about Israel. You read about Shinar, which is Sumer. You read about Cush, which is Ethiopia. You read about Canaan, which is Canaan. You read about Ashkenaz, which is part of the European people of Germany. You read about the people of Tarshish, which is descended from the Greeks. The Greeks coming out of the line of Japhet, and then Tarshish out of the line of the Greeks. So you already had what you call the language before Castilian or ancient Spanish. All of that existed before Reuben, the son of Jacob, was born. So by default, the first Israelite would be, if not Jacob, then Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Now let's understand something, if we will. Simeon, the tribe, is not a Hebrew word. Shama is an Aramaic word meaning to hear. The Hebrew word meaning to hear, H-E-A-R, is the Hebrew word he'ezim. So now in a camp such as Hashaba, that's saying the song Ha'azin Ali. Ha'azin Ali. That means give ear or hear me. Give ear to me, hear me. That's what Ha'azin Li. Li means to me, or in that case, for me. Hear for me or hear to me. Give ear to me. That's a song Hashaba used to sing and still does sing. So when I'm saying in this particular regard, brothers and sisters, citing out of an ancient record like the book of Josephus, that it distinctly says the sound that the Israelites spoke sounded like unto Aramaic. You're not going to get ba, ga, da, ha, wa, ta, la, ma, za, ka, na, sa. That is not the language of a structured people. To say that all the Hebrew sounds is except for the letter ayin, which you say is I, doesn't have the past, present, and future in its connotation. It doesn't have the aspect of the infinitive in its connotation. It doesn't have the aspect of masculine and feminine. Case closed. Because Israel is divided upon the sexes and the genders. America will tell you to have a uniform language where men and women say everything exactly the same. So if everything is and and how do you distinguish between a man and a woman talking? And with that, y'all have a good night. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the creator and the maker of heaven and earth. Israel, no disrespect to any school. Israel, no disrespect to any brother, sister, child, camp, or elder. Hebrew had structure. Just like we talked about, she covers herself. She doesn't cover herself with a man's garment. Men have their way of dress, women have their way of dress. We went over earlier about the aspect of a man and a woman aspect of speaking. And you're not going to know the difference, as we pointed out in several cases, between a fire offering and a woman. Because one is Isha, which is woman, the other is Ishe, which means fire offering, but it's spelled exactly the same. So, brothers and sisters, one rule that I am going to enforce for myself, I'm not arguing with people in English about Hebrew no more. If you feel in your heart of hearts that the people that the Torah say will be called a wise and understanding people, if you feel in your heart of hearts that everything they said was I and a periodically I, then I would say shalom to you. I'm not arguing with you back and forth in English about Hebrew when you already have your mind made up. See, you can't have, for instance, be it the King James Version, the Gideon Version, the Masoretic text, or the New Standard Version. When you have a word such as this in it, you see Abishua. There's vowels in that. If King James, which most Bibles that many Israelites do use, or many Israelites do use that Bible version, if the King James, brothers and sisters, is from the Hebrew and it's original, and you're saying the original Hebrew had no vowels, then how do you get a transliteration such as Abishua in the King James Version? They would just say Abaya Sha'a, right in the Bibles that's currently in circulation. You get the point? Lalato, brothers and sisters, y'all have a good Shabbat, and we will create a will and have a lesson on Hebrew next week. All right? Shalom. Subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, and shalom. Darayahu, I'm going to call you tomorrow. I have a flight to North Carolina, and I'm going to reach out to you when I get settled. All right. Y'all have a good night. Shalom.